Hello, this is James Arthur Ray. Just wanted to do a quick video today to tell you thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. As of right now, we have 10,000 likes. Wow. 10,000, that's a lot of you. And it means so much to me because it's only been a year that I've been active back in this community. And frankly, I had no idea how I was going to be received when I came back out and when I started posting again. And your love and your support and your confidence in me and your willingness to interact with me is it's just amazing, quite frankly. And I am continually amazed at how we're building this community around the world. There's 10,000 of us now and growing almost every single day. So thank you so much for your contribution to making that happen. And as you know, I spend a lot of time here. I don't post a bunch of quotes and things from other people unless they speak really deeply to me. And the things that I post are things that I'm passionate about and things that I hope will touch you in a deep and profound way. You see, over the last year, as you well know, we've talked about deep issues here in this community on Facebook. We've talked about how tough life can be sometimes and how challenges often want to knock us off our feet. You see, I'm not ever going to be one of those individuals who's constantly posting up Pollyanna, plastic positive posts all the time. Because sometimes life is hard, isn't it? Sometimes it's difficult. It's a difficult taskmaster, and it'll do its best to take you under. And what I've really been excited about here in this community is that you've been willing to share your victories as well as your heartbreaks. We've talked about some deep topics here, and I've asked you some probing questions, some things that you probably had to think about. And I wasn't quite sure, again, how this would play on Facebook because as you peruse, I'm sure it won't take you very long to see that everything is so upbeat and so perfect and so positive for the most part. And that's all well and good, and there's a time and a place for that. But I really believe that we live in a time where it's important for those of us who are impacting others, which is you, which is me, which is all of us, to be raw and to be real. For every single person you influence because you are motivating or exciting, possibly, I'm going to submit to you, you will potentially influence them and more even deeply impact them for being real. I think our world is ready for that. I'm frankly tired of the, I made $1 million on the internet. Let me show you how to make $1 million. Really? I'm tired of that. Is that what life is all about? There's nothing wrong with money, but let's talk about meaning. Let's talk about purpose. Let's think more broad and big. Let's talk about impacting the world. I'm tired of the one little secret trick that will trigger your unconscious mind to make you millions. You won't hear that from me. Or, the neurosciences, the little secret of neurosciences that will change your brain and life will all of a sudden be all rainbows and roses. How's that working for you? You won't hear that from me. Life is magical, but there is no magic pill. You get that? And as part of this community, you've bought that and you believe in that. And you know that it's time to get real. And you know that the time when you're truly alive and living is when you're facing the challenges. And when you're honest about those challenges and no, it's not easy, but I'm doing it not because it's easy. I'm not asking for an easier life. I'm asking for a meaningful life. I'm asking to become magnificent. We can do this. We're continuing to grow every single day. And around the world, right here in this community. In quantum physics, there's a topic that I'm really passionate about. I've talked about it for years called phase transition. And basically what they found is they can take all these random particles in a particle accelerator And they can start to align them one by one by one by one. And what they found is when they get a certain critical mass in alignment, instantaneously all the other particles fall into alignment. Now, think about the implications of that. You know, in the studies of animal behavior, biology, you know, we've got Rupert Sheldrake, who's postulated and talked about morphogenic fields. I won't get into that here. We can talk about that later. We have the 100th monkey theory. I'm sure you've heard of that, where monkeys wash their sweet potatoes, and when the 100th monkey or a critical mass is reached, all the other monkeys begin to wash the sand off their sweet potatoes, which is not a natural behavior for monkeys. And it even happens across the ocean where there's no local connectivity at all. In quantum physics, that's called quantum entanglement. That's called non-locality. You know, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi came to the West and taught transcendental meditation. He had a theory called the Maharishi effect. You can look that up as well, where he believed that if you have a critical mass of individuals who are like-minded, who are thinking, feeling, and acting in a certain direction, then the entire population immediately experiences phase transition. It falls into alignment. Can you impact the world? Yes. And you already are. I want you to get that. And I want to thank you for being a part of it. And you say, well, James, there's a lot more people on Facebook who have more than 10,000 people. Yes, that's right. That's true. But never, ever, ever underestimate the value of a small group of people and how they can impact the world. You know, according to Maharishi, he found in his research that it was a square root of 1% of entire population. Well, if you take 7 billion people on the planet currently, and you take the square root of 1% of 7 billion, you know what that number is? It's just shy of 9,000 people. We have 10 right here. Again, let's think big together. You know, I'm so honored because, as I said earlier, I didn't know how I would be accepted coming out after all the accidents and all the vilification and all the challenges and all the things that I've been through and all the apologies that I've made and all the humanity that I have certainly shown. I had no idea what to expect. But you know what I really believe? I believe that through my mistakes, I found great gifts. I believe that through my challenges, I have more to offer. And at some point in time, you have to make a decision in your life. This isn't about me, it's about us. And it's about you. Whether you're going to continue forward in faith or fold. And one of the things I will tell you with absolute certainty is that when you find your purpose, you don't quit. You know, many said to me early on, James, with all you've been through, why don't you find another job? Why don't you do something different? Easy answer, clarity of purpose. When you find your purpose, you don't quit, even if it's easier to go elsewhere, which in many cases it might have been. See, that's my wish for you. We're creating a community here, and I'd love to continue to help you. I put a lot of thought into the posts. You know, most of the posts I put out are for me as much as they are for you. It's where my head is in the particular morning at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. when I'm scheduling the posts and what I'm thinking about and what I need to hear from me. And I'm glad that they're touching you. So again, continue to comment. You know I respond. I can't get to all the personal messages because there's too many of them, but I do my best to respond on the page all the time. It is me. I'm here. And you know that. I'm spending a lot of time here. I'm investing a lot of time here because I believe we're up to something great. 10,000 people. Did you hear that noise? Maybe someone else just liked the page. Who knows? Thanks so much for being a part. Until we speak again, stay awake, love life, and be epic.